Yo, my people, welcome back to the channel. Another match reaction, Champions League, another win, another clean sheet. Makeshift lineup, routine win. Arsenal 3, Bruges nil, and it's away from home 2. Flawless victory. That's what Mortal Kombat called it, right? Or was it Street Fighter? Pretty sure it's Mortal Kombat. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat 2 as well. If you haven't seen that, go see the trailer. No, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm sponsored by Proton. That's why the QR code's on the screen. So make sure you show them some love, people. Secure yourselves, data, privacy, all of that. 15,000 servers available in over 115 countries. It makes sense, right? Arsenal protect themselves well. Protect yourself as good as Arsenal have been this season so far. Another clean sheet. And to be honest with you, after seeing the lineup, I thought, nice. Heavily mixed. Norgard centre back, okay, but it's Club Brugge, it's away from home. We are the better side. We have got squad depth, and we have got quality bursting at the seams, as a lot of people have mentioned throughout the season after a massive summer. And it's games like this that prove that. You know, looking at the lineup, I looked at the attack in particular, and I asked them to fill their boots. And one of those players in particular understood the assignment. Well, because of the title, Noni Madueke. He understood the assignment because I think overall, out of all the attackers that started the game, especially in that first half, he was the biggest threat. He knew this is Club Brugge. He knew this is an opportunity for me, and he knew that he takes on that defender enough times, he's going to get a bit of space. He's going to get an opportunity or two. And that's what he got. Listen, his first goal was an absolute banger, but it came from, a moment of holding off the defender, finding that bit of space and taking the opportunity. And that's what Noni's got to do. He's got to take the opportunity because the attack is not as well equipped as the defense. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that or know that, having looked at us throughout the season. So every attacker that plays, whether starting or coming off the bench, has a massive opportunity here. Now, obviously, Noni is on the side that Saka dominates, and there is no replacing Saka in this side. When Saka's fit, it's a big game. Saka plays. But the beauty of this week, after a couple of weeks of big games back to back for one reason or another, the beauty of this week is two very winnable games against opposition that, even with rotation, we should be handling. And we've started this week great. It's on to Wolves next. And I'd start Noni Madueke again off the back of this performance. That first half, he was the biggest threat. He was taking on the defender a lot. And I mean, I was looking at Gyokeres and I was looking at Martinelli and asking, what are you two actually doing out here? This is Bruges. Do something. At least Madueke was doing something. And up until the goal, it was a bit frustrating. The end product wasn't quite there. But then that opportunity came and he took that opportunity. And that's what it's about. I'm tired of looking for 90-minute performances from players. I think football's not there anymore. It's more about roles, cogs, and moments within that 90 minutes, especially for the attack, especially for the system we play and the way we go about controlling, dominating. So when you get an opportunity, I got to see, our attack sniff it out and eat. Go for the bite, go for the kill. And Noni did that in that moment. It was a beautiful goal. Absolutely levered it. I think he hit the underside of the bar, and that always aesthetically helps a goal like that. And he kicked on in the second half. I think in between the goals, Noni again had moments, but he was definitely our best attacker on that pitch. Without a shadow of a doubt, to start the second half, he was in the right place at the right time. Zubimendi, a beautiful cross into the box. And you see Zubimendi, when you rotate aside and you look at certain players on that pitch that you're going to rely upon. Zubi was one of those guys tonight. We saw him in the lineup, a surprise to some of us. But looking at him in that lineup, I thought, you are the guy here. Heavily rotated, away from home in the Champions League is very rarely easy. And Zubimendi just showed he was a class above anyone on that pitch. It wasn't. Listen, modern day football, he's got 2 assists. That pass into Noni for the first goal, I mean, I don't know how you can call that an assist, but it goes down as an assist. I'm not talking about the stats on this one. Even though the second goal for Noni, the cross, that is an assist. Absolute beauty of a ball. Keeper, no man's land, took a couple steps forward, but Zubi did what he had to do. He got into the area he had to get it in, and Madueke was there, and Madueke gets his second goal, his third goal in the Champions League, third goal in 2 games in the Champions League. He came on against Bayern last week or the week before. the week before, Brentford last week, and got a goal off the bench, an important goal at an important time, in my opinion, in that Bayern game. So yeah, Noni continued his form. Zubimendi showed he was a he was a cut above the rest on the pitch as expected. Um, there was a few, there was a little dink from Zubi. It was around our corner flag. And I think we had just won the ball. I believe it was Odegaard, and we just played a couple touches. I think Odegaard laid it into him. The pass was a bit light. Madueke came out wide, and Zubi just dinked it over two defenders into Madueke's path, into space. And I'm sure that resulted in a goal. I'm sure that resulted in a goal. But I just remember that moment that all round typified Zubimendi's performance. I think, yeah, he was different class. And overall, like I said, when you rotate aside as much as you rotate to come out 3-0, you know, eh, what more could you ask for? You may ask. Before Martinelli's goal, I was looking at Martinelli and Gyokeres. Now let's talk about Martinelli's goal, because a bit fortunate to beat the defender, but he beat the defender, you know. And then it was the confidence to take the opportunity, like Madueke for his first goal. A bit fortunate, Martinelli, to get into that position, but you're in that position now. What do? He takes another touch that takes him a bit away from the goal, but creates the perfect angle for what he produced. And that's not to say the ball and the position being at the perfect angle made that finish any easier. The finish was beautiful. And that's something for years I've wanted from Martinelli, because I know he's got that in him. I know he can cut in and have a goal, but very rarely do we see him have a goal. We see the cut in, but nine and a half times out of 10, it tends to be cut in, pass, and then try and find the follow up by bursting into the box. Whereas sometimes you need to give the opposition something to think about. You get a few of those under your belt, Noni. You get a few of those under your belt, Gabriel. Defenders are gonna be you start pulling out a position to close you down, right? And that may open up some space for whoever is our number 9, because at this moment in time, Gyokeres, I just don't. And you lot know I've been patient, lenient, maybe too fair at times. But yeah, I need to see more. I need to see more. And I'm getting worried, people. That was a game where, look, Jesus came on, and it was beautiful to see Jesus come on. It's been, a long time since we've seen him proper, up close and personal in a big game, in a game for an Arsenal match. But he was there, he came on, and even he, in those 25 minutes or so, had a couple touches. He had a couple shots, one off the crossbar, unlucky, forced the keeper into a save. The shot off the crossbar, it's literally him just flirting into the box, takes a little touch out of his feet and just rasps it. I need to be seeing that from Gyokeres. I need to see a lot more from Gyokeres now, because Club Brugge is one. That's one out of the games this week that it's time to fill your boots attack. Wolves is the other one. And if I'm being honest with you, if I'm judging who starts against Wolves from the 90 minutes we saw today against Bruges, I'm starting Gabriel Jesus against Wolves. And I think that's fair. And again, people, don't ever think this is me trying to pile on Victor, or me trying to find a negative from such a positive night, positive result. But the win was expected, right? I know a few people, especially on loose cannons, predicted a draw or a tougher game because of the rotation. I expected a win, and a win is what we got. But I also expected starting from the attackers, and I got that from Noni, right? I got that from Noni. A banger of a goal, and then he doubled up in the second half. I got that from Martinelli. A beauty of a goal. And across the Champions League this season, he's our top scorer, 5 goals and 1 assist, I believe. Martinelli's produced in the Champions League, and he's produced off the bench for us this season. Whereas Victor, he's had to be given the benefit of doubt. He was thrust in, no real preseason. Havertz out injured, Jesus out injured. You are the man. On one hand, you can use that as a give him some time. It wasn't ideal. On the other hand, you could use it as you had the platform from the very beginning, and was still wondering who our striker is gonna be. And it's nearly Christmas. It's nearly 2026. So that is not good enough from Victor. I need to see more. Otherwise, it looks like it looks like it's going to be a fight, a battle between Victor, Gabriel, and Kai, who starts games. I think Kai's stock has probably risen since he's been out injured. Funnily enough, I think Jesus' stock has risen after those 25 minutes against Club Brugge, because we've just seen something that's a bit refreshing, right? Nothing great, nothing amazing, nothing out of this world. It wasn't the second coming of Thierry. It wasn't Iceman Dennis. It was just a player that come on the pitch, looked for the ball, got the ball, did a shimmy or two, had an effort or two, and just showed a bit about him. And I just feel like Victor's getting embroiled too much in the physical side. He's looking for the physical battles more than he's looking for the space at this moment in time, and that is a difference to the early Gyokeres, in my opinion, for Arsenal. I feel like he was trying to find the spaces, and we wasn't trying to find him enough. Now, especially tonight against Bruges, I felt like he was more interested in the physical battles that he was losing than he was in getting away from those physical battles and making use of his strength in behind, the pace he has in behind, the finishing ability he has in the box. Now, it could be overthinking. You're at a big club now, a massive club that has dreams of winning the major trophies, if not one this season, multiple. But again, no excuses. This is elite level football. Victor, his agent, they done everything they could do to get to Arsenal, and man appreciated that. We all appreciated that. When a player shows willingness, when a player shows fight to come to our club to play for our badge in front of our fans, we've got to respect that. Top scorer in Europe, couple seasons in a row. We've got to respect that. But like I said, the honeymoon period is over, and this game, that a front three that all needed to make the most of this opportunity, Victor didn't. And the guy who came on actually showed us a bit. Maybe I'm talking up Jesus a bit too much, but it's just the contrast to the first 60, 65 minutes with Victor, and then the 25 minutes, 30 minutes with Jesus. It's just the contrast in how I felt when the ball's going up to that player or that player. With Jesus, I just felt like he wants to do something. With Gyokeres, I just felt like, what are you doing? So sorry to rant on about probably the one negative of the night, which was Victor didn't get on the score sheet. But again, in contrast, it was good to see Jesus come off the bench. And who knows, you know, Gyokeres gang, Havertz Hive. It was Mikel Mob a few weeks ago. Maybe it's Jesus's time, but it just feels like every week I'm just hoping for a different man, a different player to just take that position and make it their own. Maybe it's Kai's to take. We'll see in the new year. But we've got a lot of big games coming up, a lot of points we need to collect. Cannot afford to drop any more points before New Year's Day. And to be honest, I say New Year's Day, I mean, that's just a target. New Year's Day and onwards. We've got Portsmouth in the FA Cup, away from home. Not too far, not too difficult. Get the job done, rotate squad depth. And yeah, let's move on to Wolves, people. So yeah, overall happy, frustrated that Victor didn't get anything out of the game, and that's not necessarily a goal or assist. I mean anything. Nice to see Jesus back. Nice to see Noni impact the game in the manner he did. Bangers. I mean, I'd probably lean towards Martinelli's being the better goal. Let me know what you think. But I think when you look at both goals, because Martinelli's run was a bit messy, and Madueke's finish, I mean, it was a bit rushed because he had to hit it in that moment. If you just combine both, like the Madueke's run, holding off the defender, beating a man with a shimmy, and then that finish from Martinelli, it's just a perfect goal. But I think both goals, bangers. I've probably put Martinelli's just ahead because it was more technical. There was more a thought process behind it, whereas Madueke's was, hey, I'm into space. I beat my man. I'm gonna bang this, and bang it he did. Bang it he did. If someone tells me that one was better, the way it banged off the crossbar and over the line, I hear it. I hear it. I'm not gonna argue against you. They both went for us. another clean sheet, 2 bangers, 3 goals up, people. Champions League's looking very nice when I look at the table. Obviously still top of the table, won all games so far, 6 played, 6 wins, 17 goals scored, 1 goal conceded, a goal difference of 16. We're 3 points ahead of Bayern Munich, 5 points ahead of PSG, Man City, Atalanta, 6 points ahead of Inter, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Liverpool. And that makes up the top 9, people. So we're safe, secure. We're in the top 8. We're into the knockout stages. And by that, I mean March, not the early knockouts in February. Beautiful stuff. What it's about now, finish top, get that home advantage, if you can call it that, for the rest of the knockout rounds. I guess that's the goal, that's the target. But we park Champions League off now for the rest of the calendar year. We're touching on that again in January. And it's on to the Premier League, people. So yeah, couple man filled their boots. Couple man might not be putting on boots this weekend. We'll see how it goes, people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Love for the love as always. Hit the like button, like, hype, subscribe, show Proton some love. You know what to do. I'm out, people. I'll see you on Loose Cannons. Special guest. Make sure you're there. Put the notifications on. Peace.